Hey guys, welcome to SheKnowsArsenal. My name is Jessica. I'm your host. You can follow me on Twitter at itsjustino, and this is the first episode of Anything But Arsenal. So I was trying to figure out a reason to talk about something other than Arsenal on this channel, and I just thought, just start a little show, start a little, something on a Wednesday. Obviously, we're not in European competition, so yeah, I guess we can talk on like Tuesdays and Wednesdays about other things. But yeah, so that's kind of like the idea around the show. We'll just kind of talk about trending topics, the games that just went by in the Champions League and stuff like that. Obviously, Arsenal is not taboo on this channel. So if you have questions around Arsenal, that's perfectly fine. But the majority of the topics that we will be talking about on this particular segment will be not about Arsenal. So yeah. How you guys feeling on this Wednesday evening, afternoon, whatever? It's 2 p.m. for me, but it's probably a little bit later for you guys if you're in the UK. How are you guys feeling? What game did you watch? What did you think? I am devastated. Dortmund is out of the Champions League. And not only that, I mean, it's like Haaland will not be playing in the Champions League or in the World Cup. That is just insane. Not going to see him in any major tournaments. I mean, it's devastating. And I thought Marco Rosa would be able to get a little bit more out of this team. And I'm feeling very I feel disheartened. I feel disheartened, but there were some good matches. We'll talk a little bit about Barcelona, and it's a team that we faced a lot over the years, and to see them in such dire situation. We'll talk about what it would be like if they were to end up in the Europa League. Barcelona could potentially be in the Europa League. That's insane. And probably like, who's we? It's going to be you and me, or yeah, me and you and Gab. So I'm going to go ahead and bring Gab in. Hey, Gab.
Didn't realize you were a Dortmund fan. I feel like it was like set up almost,
Yeah, no, I am a Dortmund fan. I know it's a little bit like for some people it's taboo, like how can you have more than one team? But like Arsenal is my team, but there are other teams that I like to watch, and that's kind
Mhm.
of the section that Dortmund fall in. Ajax fall in that as well. LAFC fall in that as well. Do you have any other teams other than Arsenal that you
Oh yeah,
follow? Or
yeah.
what
I
teams
would
are those?
actually go as far as saying I support them, and that's Palermo in Italy.
Oh,
Been following them for what year are we in now? 2021, about 15 years. Been out to see him a couple of times as well. I get super passionate watching Palermo, and the Bundesliga stuff. I'm just a Bundesliga merchant. I love it so much. It's the best league in the world, in my opinion. I've got a load of different Bundesliga shirts, but I've now started getting a bit pally with the guys at Leverkusen, so I shouldn't be wearing this anymore.
well, I do share the same love for the Bundesliga. I mean, I think there's so much talent in that league, and it's very underrated. I know that it tends to be a two-horse race slash really like a one-horse race some of the times, with Bayern being so dominant. But
Mm.
if you watch any of those teams, like you watch Wolfsburg or even Stuttgart, I know they're towards the bottom, Dortmund, Leipzig, everybody, so much talent, such a fun league to watch, and I don't know why more
Yeah.
people don't get into it, you
I
know?
agree. I just think I was actually on a Twitter space earlier on today trying to battle and argue my point of the Bundesliga being the best league in the world, and I just feel that when you're watching game by game, individual games, so you could be watching Augsburg versus Frankfurt, you will find a lot more entertainment in that game than you would in I don't know Burnley versus Newcastle, for argument's
Yeah.
sake. So for me, in terms of individual games, the level of competitiveness in each individual game and what we are seeing as a spectacle, for me, Bundesliga, pinnacle. Love it.
Yeah, for sure. If you guys have not been watching the Bundesliga, you should. Now, some of my friends have been like, you need to be watching Serie A, Jess. For me, I don't know if I can get into it or not. I will try. I'm one of those types, I'll kind of try to watch anything. Like if you put a game of football in front of me, I probably will just watch it and be like, okay, cool. Let me see if I find something. But I haven't found a team in Serie A to really to follow, so I don't know.
Come join
Maybe.
me. Join me in Serie C. We had a
Is that where your team is?
Yeah, they are now. Like when I started supporting them, they're in Syria, but there was a lot of naughtiness and financial irregularities, and Zamparini being I'm not going to say the word on your stream, but not a very nice man. and put us into some real difficult situations, and got us kicked out of the league. We had to rebrand the club, change the badge, change the name of the club. Luckily, we kept playing at the Renzo. That's the only positive thing about Palermo. But we won at the weekend, 1-3-0. We're second in the league, so the glory days are coming back. And we've had some legends. We've had some proper legends play for our club as well, like Cavani. He was at the club. Simon Kjaer, Batsali, he was there. Sirigu, Pastore. So that's a big names play for the club.
Yeah, maybe I don't know how I would find those games and watch them, but I definitely will look down and maybe at least check the scores to see how you guys are doing. But I've thought about Valencia or whatever just because of the kit. I mean,
strong
I'll
kit.
just be a typical American, well, the kit's cool, so let me follow them. Well, it's a funny story because when I was in at the LA Fan Fest for the Premier League a couple of weeks ago, I was asking all these Tottenham fans why are they Tottenham fans?
Why are we having a conversation?
It makes no sense. Because I needed to know how on earth you became a Tottenham fan, And a lot of them were same answer. I didn't want to follow one of the big teams, and Tottenham seemed cool. Kit was cool, was fine, and I was like, oh man, that's so bad. Some Wolves fan, same thing. I like the little wolf. I was like, oh my goodness.
The Spurs fans are surprised it wasn't a case of I'm from St. Louis and the Cronkies moved us from St. Louis to LA, so we want to just be like, we don't like you. How can we get back at them? Let's do those.
It's funny, the American answers. I have to it is funny to me because I just couldn't believe what I was hearing, but I was like, okay, if you want to do that Spurs life, that's fine. It's cool. If you like the little wolf on the badge, that's cool. Fine. I'm not going to fight with you, but let's go ahead and get into it. So PSG, Man City, obviously PSG won the first round. Man City won this one. Man City was typical Man City. They passed the ball really nicely. They good passes to the play, obviously quality players in every line of the pitch, were fairly dominant. They went down a goal, but then they scored two, and it was like, okay, good. They kind of, the narrative was already kind of set that they weren't clinical because they don't have the striker. That narrative was already there, but because they turned it around, don't really have to talk about it. But you look at PSG, and it's just kind of one of those things. You see Mbappe, he looked gassed halfway through the game. Not really like the Mbappe that we used to know a couple years ago. Neymar, love him. Not sure where his mind is at in terms of football. And then you have Messi. The hype around Messi going to PSG has died kind of severely already. And I just wanted to ask you, what have you made of his time at PSG? It's Ronaldo is in the Premier League, and whatever you think about Man United, he's scoring goals and he's at least visible and doing his thing. But it seems like Messi's kind of falling into the background and not really there. So are you a little bit disappointed that that front three is not really clicking the way that people thought it would? And specifically Messi, he's not really making a real impact at the moment for PSG.
I likened it like this earlier on today to friends, that if you've been married to somebody for 20 years and you then divorce and you want to get back into the dating game, the things that you were doing when you were trying to date 20 years ago, you're not going to be able to do that right now. You have to learn your trade again almost. And it doesn't matter whether you're the most successful person in the world. If you have a relationship with somebody, because his relationship with Barcelona was a marriage. It's simple as that. They were together for his whole life, his whole adult life. He doesn't know anything different. And he's seen so many changes in time. Different players have come in and, different things have happened. But his relationship with Barcelona was a marriage. And I don't think there were crocodile tears when he left. I genuinely believe that he meant that. And it's like, oh, yeah, but he's going off to PSG to earn all this money and things like that. Barcelona were a sinking ship. And he did everything he could. He was the only man that was actually doing anything at the club, really and truly, for the last 4 or 5 years. So does he really want to be playing with Martin Goatweight, as the kids call him now? Or do you want to be playing with Mbappe? Or do you want to be playing with Neymar? And him and Neymar have got a relation. They've got synergy. They've had this for a few years now. So like when they had it for a few years, before Neymar moved on. You are going to play in a decent city. You're going to play for a decent club. You're going to go play under a manager who's your country compatriot as well. It was the right thing for him to do, in my opinion. In the league, he hasn't been turning it on, but at the same time, he hasn't played 90 minutes every game. So that's another thing. When it takes a little bit of time to bed yourself in. And he scored at the weekend. Great goal, great move. And it looked like it meant something to him. And I think that's going to kick him on. But his Champions League form has been normal Messi Champions League form. You know, he's still putting in performances. He's still scoring goals. Didn't score any on today. So I just think that people are looking too much at the numbers rather than looking at the performances and what he's actually bringing to the game. In the league, as I said, he's not really putting much in, but he's not putting many minutes in either. So you can't be expecting him to be doing what Ronaldo's doing right now, when Ronaldo is pretty much playing 90 minutes every game, when Messi isn't. So we could compare the two within reason, but I think it's a little bit of a harsh comparison, and we should be looking at Messi and maybe judging him towards the end of the season, see where he's at then.
I think that's fair enough. I think that's fair enough. And, Dave FC is saying, why do people always think that you have to score to make an impact? And I guess just for me, like, I personally am not seeing a lot from him, but I also do understand that he can't do everything. It's not like when he was at Barcelona and he pretty much everything went through him. He's still trying to find his feet. I think that team in general is trying to find their feet under Pochettino, and it still feels like a bunch of individuals. And you do have to kind of wait until the end of the season because they most likely will win Ligue 1, probably fairly easy.
Well, they're
But
cruising at the moment. I think they're like 12 points clear or something like that at the
yeah,
moment. So
exactly. So it's not like really the difference is going to be in the league. It's going to be whether or not having Messi in your team. And it's not just Messi either. It was bringing in Messi, Wijnaldum, Sergio Ramos, who really hasn't played for them either. Are these players going to be able to push a team that was already really stacked with great individuals to win a Champions League? That's what PSG really want. And you see them today and you're thinking, okay, they're obviously going to come second in that group. Who are they going to have, in the next round? And if they don't win the Champions League with Messi, I think it's actually going to be, people will look at Messi and they'll blame him. But don't you think that it's a deeper issue there, that you have these great individuals and this team, if it doesn't win the Champions League, it's maybe more about something a little bit more deep rooted. I mean, they could have with the
you just
individuals that
nailed
they
it, though.
had. Go ahead.
You just nailed it with all these individuals. Where's the team ethic? Where's the cohesion? So that's the point there. This reminds me of Real Madrid 03 to 09. That was just a team of people go all about Galacticos. Well, pre-Galacticos, they won the Champions League in 98. They won the Champions League in 2000. They won the Champions League in 2002. But they weren't. But they were a team when they had like Guti as a young player. They had like they had Vieira. They had Salgado. They had like all these names like Morientes. This was a team that they had. Whereas as they moved on and they had all their money and stuff, it was just individuals, and that's what's happening with PSG. They're not, for me, they're not a proper team, and they've almost. I think the signings that they made, as weird as it sounds, I feel like it didn't add quality to the team. It added quality to the squad. So it didn't make the team better, because getting a load of individuals doesn't make a team. It's just you need to have cohesion, you need to have togetherness, and you need to all be playing and singing off the same hymn sheet. I don't feel like PSG are. They've got a great front three. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, the first goal today, that's synergy. The way that they were knocking the ball around, that was movement, great counter attack. But then most of the time, I don't know. I'm just not feeling it. I don't know. Have you ever seen this? This comedy. It comes on. It's called King Gary. Have you ever seen it? I don't know if anyone in the chat. I don't know if anyone in the chat has seen it either. But like this comedy, King Gary, right? I caught a bit of it the other night, and in the first season, he's got his little under 11s team or under 10s team, whatever, and they're all just a bunch of likely lads, and they've got their best player, which is a Boosie. And no matter what the tactics are, it's like give the ball to a Boosie. And I felt that's what happened a couple of times when Messi first started. It's starting to get a little bit better now, but you can't just give the ball to the best player in the team and expect them to do everything all the time. It doesn't work like that. That's not how football works.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I already know what the headlines are going to say.
Mm,
It'll be Messi's fault that he wasn't able to have the impact to take them over the line. But they've had a team that was capable of doing more for a long, long time. So it's definitely a deeper rooted thing where they can't really seem to get things together. But that being said, they're going to the next round and they could turn it on, and we could be looking at the end and they could win the Champions League. You never know. I don't think they will, but they still could based on where they are. So,
mm.
but Pep, it's the exact opposite, really. It's not a team of individuals. It's a real team. They have a real vibe going. They lack a little bit of cutting edge. Obviously, they may look back and think maybe we needed that striker to get things over the line. I'm not sure because they did really lack that in the first half. But what do you make of Pep's chances of getting this particular team to win the Champions League? We know that that's kind of like the cloud hanging over the club's head at the moment. This team has not won the Champions League.
Mm.
And so, do you think that they have what it takes to do so, knowing that they don't have that number 9 to finish off those great chances?
I think they missed the boat. If I'm honest, it's going to take a long time. There's going to be a whole new cycle of teams that are going around there at the moment. Look at Chelsea. I know we're going to talk about Chelsea a little bit later on in the show, but they look dominant. You look at Bayern Munich, and they're a proper team. They've got talent everywhere. They could put a second string out, and it would damage a lot of teams in the Champions League right now. Liverpool, everyone's written off Liverpool for some reason. Like before the season started, everyone wrote them off, and all of a sudden, things are happening. And it's like, hold on a minute, where did this Liverpool team turn up from? We're
Mhm.
you're meant to be scraping fourth, and all of a sudden, like you're now in the driving seat to at least be second. It's going to be a 2-horse race, I think, this season in the Premier League, and they're just playing some just beautiful football. Like you sit there and think, oh, we're not talking about Arsenal stuff, but I was watching like they battered us 4-0, and I was watching there like going, wow, this is amazing. Should be
No,
doing that. I should be kicking off.
had they not been playing us, I would have enjoyed what I was seeing. Some of the
Yeah,
touches from Thiago, there are people that were saying, "Well,
good player.
Thiago, he's a" No, Thiago's a
Right,
world-class
it's
player.
world class. Yeah,
Fabinho, it was
world
so
class.
nice. Like, I mean, Van Dijk was able to fire 30-yard, like, balls right into Salah's foot, and he would just stop it dead. And then
Hmm.
from there, 5-yard burst. Like, it was insane, like, the quality that they have. The only
It's
issue
wild.
that Liverpool really had was those injuries and that kinda thing. But,
Hmm.
yeah, with Pep in Man City, I can't shake the fact that I feel like they didn't get that number 9. But you said that it's gonna be a two-horse race. Who's gonna miss out again? That's gonna be City, you think, for the Premier League?
Unless they are able to do something in the winter. If they make a signing of a proper striker in January, then my whole narrative is going to change on whether they can push for the Champions League, because they're studied everywhere else. They've got talent in abundance in all positions, and they could swap out 2 centre halves and put in 2 other centre halves and still keep a clean sheet because they're decent replacements in there. Their
Mhm.
midfield, they've got so much talent in the middle of the park. Out wide, oh, we're not playing Mahrez today. Don't worry about it. We're going to play Bernardo there instead. Oh, okay, cool. Like there's how you can't equate for that. And if there's any issues with a defensive midfielder, if Fernandinho, who's like 84 years old now, he's not able to get off his Zimmer frame, and then Rodri suspended because he likes going in for a challenge, well, you play Cancelo there if you like. And that's equally as good. You could play Zinchenko there. Zinchenko was doing that role for Ukraine in the Euros. So they've got talent and they've also got versatility. And with that, that just makes them so strong. The issue is, I don't think they're going to be able to score enough goals. And you can't just. I don't always trust City to keep clean sheets. And we saw it earlier on today. And I know that the away goal rule is no longer in effect anymore, but it doesn't stop a team going one goal up and just parking the bus anyway.
Yeah.
And it can happen. And like when you have got Italian sides in there, I know Atletico Madrid have had a terrible time so far, but they're so defensive. I think they've only conceded something like 13 goals in the league so far this season, and they've only and they're we know what defensive qualities that Atletico have. We also know what defensive qualities Chelsea have. So I'm trying to work out if they come across obviously in the last 16, they can't meet anyone from their own group or from their own country. But when they get to the quarterfinals and they've got to play Chelsea or they've got to play Liverpool, I don't see City getting past those unless they've got a striker.
Unless they have a striker. Yeah, it's the fact that they went so hard to get Harry Kane. I mean, they wanted to pay over 100 million for him. So we know that they felt like they needed a striker. So it's not just us being like, paranoid. They know that they needed one. So they sense a weakness in their squad. And I'm not sure that a combination of Sterling and Bernardo and Foden playing in a false nine really makes up for that. Gabriel Jesus, but still a very, very strong team. And what we're talking about is fine margins. But let's talk about the other team in Manchester United. They've obviously been dominating well, not the pitch, but they've been dominating the headlines for a while. And it's because bad form. Ole's finally been sacked. Such a
Carrick's at the
sad
wheel
day.
now, right?
Carrick's at the wheel. I have to say, like, one of the most uncomfortable things I've ever watched was that exit interview that he did, that Ole Gunnar did.
Did you get emotional watching it?
I didn't get emotional. I just thought this is so awkward. Like,
I felt
and then
emotional.
he got emotional. It's like he got emotional, and I just thought this is the exact issue: is that there's too much. It's like emotion. Of course, you want somebody that cares about the club, but when that emotion is like, you could tell that he was so ingrained and he loved it so much. And I think their love for him and their apprehension or reluctance to seem like they were doing something bad or rude to a legend of their club made it difficult for them to make a decision that they should have made a long time ago. And so all of that and like jobs for the boys and all of that kind of stuff is really going on at that club. And just watching him like that, I was like, oh my gosh, this is just so awkward, but also sad,
Yeah.
But
sad for everyone who doesn't support Man United, because now we're worried.
now we're worried, and
also looking forward to playing Man United in a couple of weeks. Now I'm like, I don't know.
Well, I thought if we got a result against them, that would be the sacking. Like, that's what I thought it was, because they would not have been able to stomach losing to City the way that they did, losing to Liverpool, and then potentially dropping points against us. But it was Watford that did it, and in great style. But with Pochettino, like, being the main, like, okay, this is the guy that we're going to go with. Obviously, they were kind of linked with Zidane, but Zidane's like, I'm not really trying to take the job, whatever. Do you think Pochettino would do a good job at Man United? What do you think about his caliber? And he hasn't really won much, but he does play good football. Like, he has some things, but do you think that he's at the level and stature of Man United?
Do you know what? I hate when people use that as a way to beat a manager down. It's like, well, what have you won? It's like, well, look who else in the league. Not every manager can win the league. Any manager can win the league, but not every manager can. There's only one prize, and who's going to get it? And he turned. Oh no! I'm about to praise Tottenham. Give me a moment. Right. He turned Tottenham around, and Tottenham were just fodder, weren't they? And after, like, Harry Redknapp got the ball rolling, and then obviously they had the Sherwood situation and stuff like that. But then Poch came in and got them playing a brand of football that I enjoyed to watch. And like, yes, I'm an Arsenal fan. Yes, I'm a Palermo fan. But ultimately, number one for me is football. I'm a football fan first before anything else. And I want to sit down and watch football. I want to be entertained. I want to enjoy it. I want to break it down, have a look, and like, not just like stat pad and stat bash and things like that, but just I want to be able to watch it and get my own take of the game. And watching Spurs at times used to quite excite me for what they were doing and
Oh,
they were playing. I know it hurts me, and like, do you know what? Yeah, I used to be like, oh my god, I can't believe I'm going to say this, but I have to take rivalry out of it. And if I'm enjoying what I'm seeing, I'm not just going to be like, oh well, they're rubbish. No, well they're not, are they? They're playing well, and like the year that they should have won the title, and I still think they're a bit harsh. I actually blame Arsenal for it because we beat Chelsea 3-0. We battered Chelsea off the park. They changed the three at the back, and then Chelsea were like, nope, we're off. See you later, 16-17 season. Because man for man, and starting 11 alone, Tottenham had the best team that season, in my opinion. The issue was they had the best 11 and a really good 13, maybe 14. Whereas other teams had a squad of 18. They looked better, like in terms of, right, if that player's injured, who can we bring in? That's fine. They have good replacements in
mhm.
those areas. But the way Pochettino had them playing football it was great to watch. And they were so structured and they were rigid at the back, but had flair going forwards. That's what you want, right? That's why I do you know what, right? I was a bit tangenty, but that's why I used to love watching Shakhtar because Shakhtar were just like their back line were just big, brute Ukrainian guys. You ain't getting
Yeah.
past me. See you later. And in midfield and up front was all these flair, sexy Brazilian footballers like flicking the ball about
I
and stuff.
can't.
It's like it was the perfect balance. And this is exactly the way that Tottenham used to play. They used to play. There was Shakhtar without winning things, and yeah, Pochettino, I believe, can bring that if you give him time. Because this is the thing that we're not allowed to afford in football nowadays is time. You come in now, we'll be like, yeah. The fans will be like, yeah, we'll give him time. We'll give him time. Let's say he turns up at Man United's door tomorrow, right? He gets the January window, he gets a couple of players in, and he's like, right, okay, yeah, next season we're going to do bits and bobs. You go on a 3-4 game losing run. Oh, Pochettino's this, Pochettino, we should never have got him anyway. Rah, rah. So reactionary. It's like, let's just be a little bit more patient here and let's see what he's going to deliver. Let's see what he's going to bring. And you've got to give, I think every manager deserves a minimum of 3 windows if you're at a club that is going to spend money. And Man United have proved over the years that they've spent money. They've spent over £1 billion since they last won a title.
Mhm.
They can spend. That's in 8 years. So if they're going to continue spending, which is what they're going to do, then you've got to allow him a minimum of 3 windows. And then once you do that, those players need to bed themselves in. I think Man United are 2 players short of being genuine title challengers and i.e. going on to win it. And that is a centre half because I actually like Harry Maguire. He's having a bad time at the moment. It's not his fault. Name me an England player that has been brilliant since the Euros.
But they just
Oh,
bought
wait.
Varane. They
Yeah,
literally just
so
bought
but it's
Varane.
yeah, but it's injured though, isn't he? Like he can't keep fit at the moment. So you do that and then you go get a CDM. We all know that's what they're missing because I actually like Fred, I actually like McTominay, and I like Fred from my Shakhtar watching times.
I like
But
them too
like,
because they're holding
yeah,
them back.
well the only reason why they're holding them back is because they are they're losing out on players by playing those 2 there. If you play those 2, you're missing out on a CDM, which means you're not able to express yourself. So you're now by playing those 2, you're missing a proper box to boxer and you're missing a defensive midfielder by playing 2 players that are just old school mid 90s, early 2000 midfielders. It's not working. So and do you know what? I just saw a brief little thing in the chat. They're missing a right back as well. You're damn right because Wan-Bissaka is not the man. He is a reactional defender, and if you're going to be like that in a team which is meant to try and be like relatively rigid at the back, then it ain't going to work. And it worked well with Alex Telles coming in last season because that pushed Luke
Luke
Shaw
Shaw.
onto the
Mhm.
Luke Shaw that everyone expected him to be, and he had a brilliant season last season. Who's challenging for Wan-Bissaka? Diogo Dallo. Well, I'm sorry, I'm left-footed. I fancy playing right back and putting pressure on him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I hear you 100%. And like that's why knowing Ollie was at the wheel, you always kind of knew that Man United would underperform. And you could see like there are levels that a manager can take you. We'll talk about Tuchel in a minute, but like having the players is just not enough. And I think with Pochettino, he can improve them to a point where they are in the mix. They're definitely not really at Man City and Chelsea and Liverpool. They're not quite there yet, but like you said, they're just a couple of players short. Now, the another question that people bring up about Pochettino is his ability to work with big personalities. I think PSG is a difficult job, and the personalities that he's dealing with are not easy. But he has to get it right with Cristiano Ronaldo in the short term. That's definitely something that I don't think Oli got. Oli, it's not that they fought, but to get Ronaldo and the other players around him ticking and the questions around the pressing and all of that, it seemed to slow Oli down. Like as soon as he got those better players in, it's like he froze. Do you think Pochettino has the ability to work with these bigger personalities, these Pogbas, these Ronaldos, and get them going and get a system going with younger players too that he's going to do well with? Sancho, he's going to be great with that, him, Rashford. Do you think he has that about him too? Because big personalities come with big consequences if you don't get things right.
Yeah, I do worry about that, if I'm honest. And if you look at the PSG situation and the fact that Mbappe was doing everything he could to push a move out of PSG to go to Real Madrid, and this is at a time when we didn't know what was going on at Real Madrid in the summer, did we? Like they looked a bit hairy, didn't they? They didn't look like the Real Madrid that we all know historically. So the fact that he was desperate to leave and go to Real Madrid, which we know are arguably like one of the best teams ever to play football. Where was the conversation from Pochettino and Mbappe? Where was that? But then I feel like Neymar was happy, and Neymar's got a big personality, but he barely plays a game. So I realised that Neymar club form up until the beginning of this season for a club in the league has played less games than Pedri played in all competitions last season. Can you believe that?
That's crazy.
So like the fact he's missing so much, it's easy to deal with him because you're probably going to get more of a conversation with him because he's just walking up there, he's on his crutches or whatever, just catching up on the way to the training ground. Oh yeah, Neymar, yeah, I might bring Messi down. You know what I mean? Like yeah. But like the fact that Messi and Pochettino are country are both countrymen of the same from Argentina. I think that relationship is better. If he was to go to Manchester United and not be able to spark a relationship with Ronaldo, I'd actually more question Ronaldo's professionalism more than worrying about Pochettino and can he handle the big egos. Because as a player, you play for that manager, you play under that manager. If you can't do that, you are being completely disrespectful to your teammates, to your manager, to your fans, and ultimately to yourself. So if you can't do that, then I wouldn't be looking at Pochettino thinking, "Oh, you're wet, mate." I'll be thinking more, Ronaldo, sort it out. You're 37, mate. Well, it's going to be 37. Be an adult. That's what I would be thinking.
Yeah, I don't think Ronaldo doesn't strike me as the type of player that's going to kick up a stink or anything like that. I think he is kind of like the ultimate professional type. I don't see him like really bumping heads with Pochettino. I just wonder about keeping everybody happy with big personalities involved, figuring out the right blend of players and making, because they have a lot of really good players and you have to figure out a way to make them happy. And that's not really something that he had to deal with at Spurs. They had, like you said, they had like a good 11, good 12. Like they really didn't have like a second team that's knocking at the door wanting to play. Didn't have the issues of, like, honestly, I think Manchester United could do really well with Greenwood, Sancho, and Rashford up front.
Yeah, I think so too. But then you're not able to do that when you got Ronaldo there. Like
and
I look
Cavani.
at that front line and Cavani. Yeah, but I don't like Cavani. The way he walked out of Palermo back in 2009, I don't actually have a lot of time for him at all. That's It's like I feel like how our Spurs fans felt when Sol Campbell came to N5.
Oh
But
man.
it's the same level. I understand where it came from now. But
Mm-hmm.
no, I just think, yeah, they've got an abundance of talent. And I was in a space and they were talking about like when they realised that Martial was starting, and some of the United fans were absolutely buzzing because it's just something a little bit different. It's like,
Yeah.
and I think that's what they were what United fans have been after. They've been looking for just a different voice, a different vibe to come in and be like, right, okay, and that's what Carrick bought when he took the Villarreal game yesterday. And I think when you've got someone like Pochettino isn't afraid to mix it up either. And I kind of respect that. So it doesn't matter who you are. If you ain't performing in training, for argument's sake, or we're playing against a particular team, they're playing 3-4-3. We can't line up with our 4-2-3-1. We need to match them. So by doing that, we're gonna have to drop a player, and it might be someone who is regarded as important. Such a ballsy move from Carrick the other day, dropping Bruno Fernandes, and that was huge. Don't get me wrong, he came on, like they got involved in play later on today, but
Mm-hmm.
you've only got 11 players that can play, that can start a game. And if you've got
Yeah.
20 top quality players, some people are going to be upset about it. And if you can manage that, and as a manager and as a player, if you can understand that, then what's there to worry about? I think that's why City get on so well. That's why Liverpool get on so well.
And if you have a bunch of competitions, like that's another part of it as well. Like Manchester United will probably be in 3, 4, whatever competition. So there's plenty of minutes to go around. It's just,
Mm-hmm.
it felt like Ole was choosing something that the majority of people, not only from inside the club, but outside the club, could see, like play Donny, prioritize Sancho, do the obvious things. And Carrick did that and he got the reward for it. So
Mm-hmm.
hopefully he gets the job long term. That would be great. If Carrick stayed at the wheel. We know he won't, but that would be interesting. There's about 60 of you guys watching. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Get in the chat box and let us know what you're thinking about what we're talking about. I just want to change gears a little bit to Chelsea and Thomas Tuchel. This is somebody who, when he was linked to the Arsenal job, I was one of those idiots sitting there going, he wouldn't fit the philosophy. He wouldn't be able to do with his players. He probably wouldn't do a good job. Now I'm like, oh, what was I
Jacinho!
thinking? Oh,
Oh, you watch
what an
Bundesliga football though,
recipe.
Jess. You should have known he was going to do bits. I am a big fan of Thomas Tuchel, and my old podcast that I used to do, it was just solely Premier League stuff, and I used to talk about him when Arsenal got linked with Thomas Tuchel. I was like, make it happen, let's go, rah rah rah. And people were like, yeah, but like didn't win the league in Germany, did he? It's like, yeah, but he still won silverware, and he still got Champions League football. When other teams were getting stronger around him, he still maintained that strength. And people forget that he was also doing a job at Mainz. And this is a Mainz side that Jurgen Klopp managed. Excuse me, Jurgen Klopp got them into Europe, fair enough. Jurgen Klopp also got them relegated as well.
Yeah, I
And people need
remember.
to remember that. And like Jurgen Klopp almost got Dortmund relegated the year before he went to
I don't want
Liverpool.
to remember that.
Honestly, honestly, it was bad, weren't it? That season, was it 14-15 season?
Yeah.
Awful. They were like something like 9 points after like 10 games or something. It's like, mate, what's going on? Tuchel didn't go through any of that. Tuchel weren't doing any of that. Tuchel got Mainz relevant again. They haven't been relegated since. Tuchel went in, he was already doing his youth management, youth coaching and stuff. He took his time, biding his time to get to where he wanted to be and where he should be. He got the main job and he bossed it. He turned them playing some beautiful football. They were playing 3 at the back at times. They were playing 4 at the back at times, but they were playing a level of attractive football for at the time, a newly promoted side. He then, with that kudos, got himself the job at Dortmund and made Dortmund relevant again, if I'm honest, because after that poor season under Klopp, somehow he scraped him into Europe at the end of that season, but Tuchel got them playing again. And it was just unfortunate that everyone else was also playing. It's just like, ugh. And then he's gone to PSG. and got them playing and got them to a Champions League final, and let us
Mhm.
place where they have never been in their history. And that deserves respect. He's then gone to Chelsea. Look what's happening. The guy is a tactician. He's brilliant.
Yeah. I mean, it's the funny thing about it is that last season obviously comes in, turns Chelsea around, but there were still questions around their offense, whether or
Mm,
not they could score goals. But they still went on to win the Champions League. And some people still regarded it as some sort of fluke because they weren't on the hard side of the drawing and all that kind of stuff. And I hear that. They're better this season.
mm,
They're better this season. Not only have they bought $100 million striker in Lukaku, but they're not playing him and they're getting goals from freaking everywhere. And that's not a
mm,
weakness. A weakness is not your offensive players maybe not scoring goals, but it's picking up everywhere else. And for me, that's a strength. And it
mm.
feels like they're even more efficient this time around. There's more players in form. There's less players out of form. Last season, it was like Werner's out of form. Callum Hudson-Odoi's out of form. This person's out of form. I
Mm.
don't like who's out of form. Who's actually out of form? I don't know
Who
anybody that's out
actually
of form.
is? Who
Yeah,
actually is? That's what a great question. Any Chelsea fans watching the show? Who's out of form for Chelsea right
yeah.
now?
Who's out of
Look, it's
form?
it's
Oh,
it's
Chilwell was
just,
out of form. Now he was their best player and like
and now he's
basically their
out with
best
an
player,
ACL injury. He's
and now
out.
he's out.
I'm
It's
actually
it's
gutted for him on that front.
oh yeah, yeah,
Like
for sure.
from a football fan's point of view, as an Arsenal fan.
Well,
But
that's
no,
it's good
it's
because then I'm
yeah.
thinking Bukayo is just one step closer to making sure he makes that World Cup squad because he is a wing back, left wing back. So that's I'm not gonna lie, I did think about that, but it's not great that he has the injury. But yesterday they played Juventus and they just whooped them. I mean, if you watch the game, there's
Mm.
no other way to describe it but a whooping. That's
What
literally what
people
it
will
is.
laugh about though and say is like, yeah, but Juve, they're having a terrible time in the league. Hold on a minute, Chelsea got beat by Juve only a few weeks ago, and Juve were also doing terribly then. So that would be a poor argument to bring to the table, in my opinion.
It's
Chelsea,
not a good
when they not,
argument.
no, yeah, that's what I mean. Like, no,
Mhm.
it would be a poor argument to say like, oh yeah, but Liverpool, they're not playing very well, are they? So
Right,
I
right.
wonder why Chelsea won. It's like, hold on a minute, yeah, but Chelsea got beat by that same team when Chelsea were playing well, and they weren't playing well, but they still got beat. So like, I just think that since Lukaku got injured, um, Werner's obviously on his way back into the side at the moment. Werner's a player I love, by the way, and I will defend that guy until I'm through the hills. I don't care what anyone says. He's not a number 9. He would have. Slight tangent. If he'd went to Liverpool as he said he was going, as they said he was going to, and they were playing a front three of Werner, Firmino, and Salah, that would be the most dangerous front three in world football right now. Don't care, hands down. But like since Werner's been injured and Lukaku's been injured, it's almost like they've become more fluid. And by doing that, they've been able to score more goals. And when they're not like remember when Mourinho was winning games 4-5-0, and people would be like, wow, Mourinho's not that defensive, is he? Well, he was. It would be 1-0 till like the 80th minute. And then he just bored the
Mhm.
opposition into submission and then just knocked 3 goals in towards the end. Tuchel ain't doing that. I'm I'm trying to work out, like, the worst thing to do is try and put a bet on to work out who's going to score the first goal for Chelsea. Because the goals are
Right.
coming from all over the place and everybody looks hungry and everybody wants to play for that manager. I wouldn't be surprised if he was there for 4 years. And 4 years isn't a very long time,
Is
but
a
for
it's a
Chelsea,
long time for a
that's a
Chelsea manager.
that's a lifetime. I'll be picking up my bus pass. You know what I mean? Like that's why it's a long old time. So yeah, it's beautiful what we're seeing as football fans from what Chelsea are bringing to the table. Defensively astute, in midfield they could decide whoever they want to play in that too. It doesn't matter who they play, apart from Saul, which is such a shame that he's had a bad start.
I
And
can't
that
even
front
talk
three,
about it. I
are
can't
you
even talk about
upset?
it.
Are you upset about it? I'm upset about it. Yeah, should we
I
go?
couldn't
Should we
believe
cry
it.
about it? Yeah,
Because I was sitting there like, "Okay, well, why is he going? He
yeah,
can't get in the team, and he hasn't adapted." And I'm just like, "Ugh, they're gonna send you
mm,
back. Return to sender. Right back to Simeone's door because you haven't done it." But,
hmm,
yeah, I mean, it's tough, but for me, there's some Arsenal fans that I feel like hold a real resentment towards Chelsea, and like you have like a level of resentment for all teams that are not Arsenal. I
yeah,
think
get that.
that, but Manchester United for me is the team that I can't stand. Chelsea
Yeah.
is more like they came, they just kind of said, okay, we're the new guys, and it just is what it is. They never really were our rivals. They kind of just replaced us. Let's be real. If we're real,
Yeah.
they just kind of did the
Do you know
thing,
what? I like that.
Good.
I've never looked at it like that. I don't hate Chelsea. My mum's a Chelsea fan, and like I love my mum, so it's all good in it. But I just, but like I don't think I've ever seen Chelsea as a rival either. I
There's
think
a
you're right.
large,
There was a
there's a big
replacement.
group of
That's fine. I can live with that.
There's a big group of Arsenal fans that I feel like maybe it's because of their age that they don't remember the Manchester United Arsenal. So what they do
Mm.
remember is the back end of like or the beginning of Arsene versus Jose, which really wasn't a competition. We had
Wasn't a
started to
thing,
really
was it?
fade. Yeah, we had started to fade, but at least from a footballing perspective, what I like to see is players, because Chelsea, I thought, underutilized their academy for a very long time, and I think one of the best things that could have happened was them getting the transfer ban, Frank
Mm.
Lampard being there, and being brave enough to use those young players, and
Hmm.
some of them have made it and some of them haven't, but watching Reece James grow, watching Callum Hudson-Odoi grow,
Mm.
seeing Ruben Loftus-Cheek come back in, Ross
Mm.
Barkley have somewhat of a role, Mason Mount be prevalent in their squad. I mean, even when you look around the Premier League, you see Livermento, Conor Gallagher, Declan Rice. These are all players that have come out of Chelsea's academy, and they're actually
Mm.
utilizing them in their squad. And for
Yeah.
me, some of their academy players, the players that come out of their academy are some of their best players. I
Yeah.
think in this particular league, it's a strength to have players coming out of your academy and your team and playing at a high level. But Reece James is just a joke.
Unbelievable.
Like, he's a
Unbelievable.
joke. Tell me what you think about Reece James.
Well, first off, I'm old school. I like my defenders to defend. That's your first job. If you could defend, then going forward, different story. You could do whatever you like to do. He is unreal. Last season, when every time he like featured, I was like, the season before, he was it Wigan season before, and I was like, right, this kid's all right, you know. Where's he from? And he's on loan from Chelsea. I'm like, oh, typical, another Chelsea player.
Makes sense.
Never gonna see the first team. Do you know what I mean? How many players have we seen over the years? Never gonna make it. And then he starts getting a couple of games. I was like, oh yeah, all right. And then we're just seeing over the last like 12 months the emergence of this uber talented, wonderful player. Like I honestly think last season, if Chelsea had a proper number 9, we'll be seeing numbers, if not better, than Trent. Because I think his delivery, like Trent's dead ball delivery, is out of this world. It is out of this world. I don't think there is a player in world football at the moment that has got a better delivery from a dead ball situation than Trent right now. From an open plays perspective, I love watching Reece James bomb it down the right hand side and whip a ball in. If someone can't put the ball in the onion bag, that's not Reece James's fault. Let's don't get it twisted there. Do you know what I mean? And defensively, his positioning is perfect. Like when I look at Wan-Bissaka for argument's sake, because last season, the season before, we were all having this conversation. Oh, who like rank the right backs? Trent, James, Wan-Bissaka. People going, well, Wan-Bissaka is like best defensively. No, he is not. If you're having to slide into challenges and stuff because you're out of position, yeah, you might win the ball. That might be a great challenge. But hold on a minute. That doesn't mean that you're defending well. That means like is it Paolo Maldini that said if you need to make a tackle,
You
then
were already out of position. You're already beat.
yeah, that's not a good thing. Because people like
Mhm.
when people try and go through the stats and the stat padding and stat bashing, it's like, yeah, well, this player has more tackles than Maldini. I'm like, that's not a good thing, mate. That really ain't. And like
Like,
when
why are
with
you acting like that's a badge of honor? Like the guy's getting
no,
beat.
exactly. I don't want my defenders to have to tackle. I want my defenders to be in the good position in the first place, so they could just sweep it up and just knock it out of play. It looks boring. It looks crap. It looks like they're not doing anything at all. Because you want to see that crunching tackles. Like, oh yeah, well done. Yeah, it's good defending. No, it's not. That boring thing when he gets to the ball first and just knocks the ball out of play, or just squeezes one inside, or
That's
or
what you want
finds
to
or finds
see.
your man. That is proper defending. Reece James has got that. Reece James could play on the right hand side of a back three. He could play the right hand side of a back four. He could play wing back. He could play centre mid if he wants to do all these things. And the man is bagging. He's scoring goals with left foot and his right foot right now.
He
Reece
can.
James
He's so
is the
good.
guy. I'll wax lyrical about him all day. You mentioned Ruben Loftus-Cheek as well, and Ruben Loftus-Cheek. So I used to be a football referee, and I used to do like lots of semi-pro stuff. But when the level that I got to, I was also able to do a lot of the Premier League under 18s and under 23s games.
Hmm.
And the first time I saw Loftus Cheek was 8 years ago, December 2013. I always remember it because they were playing against Reading. They won 6-0, and he set up five and scored one. And I just saw this guy just marauding through people like he was prime Yaya Toure. And I was like, this guy is going to make it. And like, I always look forward to, on your Facebook memories, I always look forward to it for when it comes back round so I can share it and be like, yeah, I told you.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like if you can be on the outs, but then the coach brings you back in, almost everybody is informed. Nobody really looks like they're upset that they're not playing. They showed Kai Havertz and Kovacic in the stands watching their team play and big smiles on their faces. I'm just thinking the guy is doing something there that
Mm,
you would hope at some point your club would be able to have. And like I don't think that Arteta and Tuchel are on the same level, but you want to see your players in form. You want to see players
mm,
that were on the outs come back in, come back off of loan, come back in and be utilized. I if I was a Chelsea fan, I'd probably just be like, "Oh my gosh, you're so amazing." Like if our left wing back or our right wing back or whatever goes down, we're like, "Oh, this is it." I mean, we know Tavares is doing his thing or whatever, but they lost Chilwell, they'll just bring in Alonso, is chill.
yeah, they're cool.
So
Yeah, it's
they're
fine.
they're they're doing things, but even though Chelsea are definitely somebody that I don't love their fans all the time because when they are winning, they are in your face about it. But you
Mm,
can't deny that they are right up there with the best teams. But for you, when it's we talked a lot in the beginning about Tuchel and Klopp, and they have a lot of symmetry and parallel in terms of where they came from, Mainz and Dortmund, that kind of
yeah.
thing. I personally feel like the Premier League and the Champions League are well within Chelsea's grasp in terms of two competitions that they can win. And I hate to even think about the impossible that maybe they could do both. But if Tuchel wins the Champions League or the Premier League this season, where does that put him in terms of levels with Klopp and Pep? Because I mean, Pep has won tons of like Carabao Cups. He has
Mm,
he has won the Premier League several times with Man City. Klopp has won the Champions League and the Premier League with Liverpool, but Tuchel already has a Champions League underneath his belt for
yeah.
Chelsea in his first year there. If he
Yeah. I
does
just
that,
think
it's insane.
Yeah, I just think, but it's almost like a cheap fling, isn't it? And this is what I'm saying about like if he was there for the next like 4 years, which I actually think that Chelsea have found their guy now that they're going to stick with for a bit. And I'm trying to work out, apart from the national side, what job is Tuchel going to go get next right now? Like, I don't think he would want to leave Chelsea to go somewhere else. It wouldn't make any sense to him. It wouldn't make any football sense. But we all know football's a funny old game anyway. But if he goes on and wins the league or the Champions League this year, whichever one he wins, next year, he'll probably win the league or the Champions League. And the year after that, he'll probably do the same again. Honestly, I can't see with all these kids coming through at Chelsea, and we all know that they've got a limitless wallet, they can go and do whatever the hell they want. and they've got all the tools there. And I think the manager right now is the man to take it forward. I think we have to wait another couple seasons. One, if he sticks around, Abramovich allows him to stick around, and two, if he goes on and win these trophies that we believe, before we can have that conversation, can we put him in the same bracket as Pep, Klopp? Because at the moment it's still Pep number one, Klopp number two. I get more excited by Klopp's teams, but Pep's got his history to back it. And what I love about Pep, people, I'm going to say this now, and I know people are going to kick off about it, but like Pep goes into teams and makes them better. He makes them play better. But people are like, well, why didn't he win the Champions League then? Well, cup competitions are very difficult to win, and anyone could be lucky on the day. Do you know what I mean? Like we've seen teams knock around in the quarters, and it's like, what? Who brought you to the party? Like what are you, what like I didn't invite you. What are you doing here? Like, and things like that happen. You know, Leipzig, you know, Atalanta. What are you doing? What are you doing here? You know, so when like with those sort of things can happen, I don't think Pep needs to win a Champions League to prove his clout and his credibility. It would just put a rubber stamp on it more than anything else. And like with Tuchel, he needs a little bit more time to win more of these things, and then once he does that, bam, party time then.
All right, well, you heard it here. You just have to wait a little bit longer. There's like 65 of you guys watching. Make sure you're liking the video and subscribing to the channel. We have 2 shorter little sections that we'll go through and then do some quick fires with Gab. So make sure you guys are in the chat box. But I got to ask you about Barcelona. So I read this earlier and I thought to myself, this can't be real, right? So the only way Barcelona can now advance, this is rich coming from an Arsenal fan sitting here not watching my team in Europe, but the only way that Barcelona can now advance to the Champions League round of 16 is by defeating Bayern Munich at the Allianz Arena, or if Benfica failed to beat Dynamo Kiev at home on the same night. Otherwise, it's Europa League for Barcelona.
Yeah. Hey, look, Bayern have won 5 in 5 in the Champions League. They do not want to go with 15 points. They want to go and prove their point and be like, we've got 18 points. Who wants to play us in the next round? Come on, who wants to play us? They're going to be out there proving a point. And even if they were thinking, do you know what? We need to rest a couple of people. They can rest half their squad. Barcelona haven't got the minerals to beat Bayern Munich.
That's the worst team you have to beat.
I know.
And the worst place to have to try to go, like, not even at home, not even in your own backyard. Like, okay, well, maybe we have our own fans. No, going like, come on. They're playing Europa League football.
Jess, I've never, obviously we've only known each other through Twitter life. I don't know if you've ever traveled to Europe and in particular Germany before, but if you've ever been to any of these grounds, it ain't a safe place to go. Well, it is safe in terms of safety. It's a nice place to go. Germany's the best country in the world, in my opinion. But no, don't be you'll be all right. You'll be all right. But in terms of intimidation from the fans towards opposition players, there's no safe place in Germany to go. And especially when you are in a position where you have to win the game in order to progress. Barcelona of yesteryear could go there and do a bit, but nowadays, I don't see how what Barcelona could do. Xavi ain't been there long enough either to try and install anything. But it's just gonna. The fact that Benfica have got Dynamo Kiev at home, what Dynamo Kiev got to play for? They got a point, I think, in the group. A point, 2 points. So it's just not a point. They got a point. They got one draw. Yeah, bless them. You know what I mean? So even if they get 3 points against Benfica, they can't even get into the Europa League. So what have they got to play for? A bit of pride? Nah, not having it. Barcelona are playing in the in the Europa League. Good competition, by the way.
Of course. It's one of those where it's like first of all, let me just say this. I never thought in a million years I would miss the Europa League. When I was sitting there on Thursdays last season, I was like, gosh, this crap so bad. The little anthem, oh, whoa. It's like,
No, that
oh,
bangs.
no,
That
it doesn't.
bangs.
I don't
Yes,
like. I hate
it
it
does.
because you can't go to champions, and we get whoa,
Yeah,
whoa.
true.
Like I'm like, this is not it, But wow, I miss it. I miss it. But seeing, okay, so we're obviously a big team that's fallen. Obviously,
Yeah.
Barcelona are bigger than Arsenal, and they are
Oh yeah.
potentially going to be playing in the Europa League. How how have we gotten here? Like, how have we gotten here? I mean, it's just you see Real Madrid, they're trying to hold it together. Without Benzema, they'd be in a pretty similar place, I feel like.
Yeah, I agree.
But you're looking at Barcelona, the players that they have, I think they have I mean, some of the players that they have don't even deserve to be there. But then when you look at them, it kind of mirrors a little bit of what I saw with Arsenal over the last couple of years before we brought in Arteta and kind of like started things over.
Yeah, yeah.
Senior players, that are too old, players that should have never worn the Arsenal shirt slash Barcelona shirt, and then a bunch of young kids that really can't help you out. I mean, and financial issues, players on big contracts. They have a lot of
Mm.
similar issues that we've had. So it's sad to watch them. But for you, how sad is it to see a team and a club of that level fall apart the way that it has? I mean, does it hurt you or no? I mean, they've
Nope.
slapped us so many times, so it's kind of
Nope.
like
It's
so
not sad.
you're in the camp of like
Thing is, like, it's weird though because like, I look at the Bundesliga and the way that Dortmund have been, that Bayern, sorry, have been dominating it, but it doesn't bother me because I actually quite like watching Bayern play football. Like, they're a team that I enjoy to watch because I just love Bundesliga football for what it is. In La
of course.
Liga, like, I just feel like there's been so much arrogance from Barcelona over the years, so it is a massive middle finger up, and I'm happy. I'm happy if they go down. And this is the thing, right? I actually wanted like. Because this is a conversation I was having a few weeks ago because like Man United are going through their stuff and I was like, and this is when Ollie was still there and I was like, there's nothing stopping like Man United getting to the semi-finals of the Champions League. Like if they get by Barcelona in the last 16, they'll pump them regardless. And then like what if they end up getting like Ajax or at the time Dortmund, like because they love to bottle it in the latter stages of competitions. So if Man United play against them, then they're in semi-final. Then that's mad. Then Ollie's going to stay, and everyone's gonna eat for years. But obviously that didn't happen, and Dortmund are out. But like Barcelona, like even if they go down into the Europa League, I could see teams in the Europa League getting something out of them.
They're not winning it.
I
They're
could,
not winning it. They're not
if
winning it.
if Rangers beat Sparta Prague tomorrow, I would fancy Rangers to put up a competition against Barcelona. No cap.
Yeah.
I
It's
swear.
okay. Personally, I feel like the Europa League, it's just destined for Moyes to get it. I feel like West Ham are going to do something. I just have this weird
I'd be
feeling
really
because
happy for him as well.
I wouldn't. I would not. I'm
No, but
sorry.
my
I'm
dad played for
shady.
West Ham. Do you know what I mean? He left Arsenal and then
Oh,
went to Ian Wright, innit?
Gav, look. Do you understand? Okay, so we are the Arsenal. We're already behind them in the table. How dare
Yeah, I mean,
they
like,
get into the
no,
Champions
yeah,
League
for
before we
us,
do?
for us, it would be,
Yeah.
yeah, for us, it would be a bad thing. I mean, like, we've bottled so many European opportunities and European nights. I mean, like, I think obviously we lost in the Champions League final in '06. But I'll tell you what, the one that hurt me the most was Cup Winners' Cup '95 because we could have won it back to back, and like to have a ex Tottenham player score against us like from the halfway line, that burnt me. That burnt me more so than any other final that I've ever seen Arsenal losing.
Mm.
So like, yeah, I wouldn't mind if West Ham went a long way because I'm a big fan of keeping things above board, keeping the coefficient points up for England. I support every English club in European competition until it gets to a point. So like it was more prevalent like a few years ago, I say a few years ago, probably about 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago. But I would be supporting everybody. Literally, it's like, come on, get through the group stage, get battered in the last 16, please. Thank you very much. So like I would like to see West Ham go a long way, and then just get like done in the quarters or or the semis
Yeah, I
by.
low key need them. Like,
Yeah.
I need several things. I need them not to win the Europa League, and I also need them to fall out. Like, I need them to have like a little bit of a slippage because right now I'm feeling away. Like I really am because I'm looking at us. Everything is selfish for me in Arsenal.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
how do I
yeah.
keep myself from getting killed? How do I keep myself from getting bantered? Okay, because if West Ham do something, it's gonna be crazy. But what I will say is that they're doing a really, really good job. And if they did win it, I would not be surprised. But last question on Barcelona. Could this current Arsenal team beat this current
Yes.
Barcelona team?
Next.
Oh man. I gotta put
Is
that
this
on
was this one?
Twitter.
Is this one of the quick fires?
Oh, I just
I
thought of
couldn't
it.
wait to answer that. I couldn't get it. I couldn't get it out of my mouth quick enough.
I
Yes,
gotta put
now
that.
move.
I gotta put that
Let's
on Twitter. Like,
bounce.
do you think this current Arsenal team could actually beat Barcelona? I mean,
Yes. I
I
actually
would
mean that with my
cry
chest as well. And I'm probably one of the most
with chest.
like yeah, I would say with chest because like people call me pessimistic, a pessimistic Arsenal fan. I'm not. I'm a realistic Arsenal fan. I've been an Arsenal fan since 1993. I've seen enough excitement and turmoil over the years to know what to expect out of my team. You know what I mean? And like I carry a burden of guilt on my shoulders because my brother is 10 years my junior and I made him an Arsenal fan and he has seen nothing.
Oh,
Couple of FA Cups. And I feel that I have put that on his shoulders. He's 24 years old and he's starting to
you should
receive
feel bad.
like yeah, well, he's not receiving
You've
actually.
put
I put that in
Mustafi
there.
on him. You understand that?
Yeah, I'll put Mustafi on him. I'll put Mari Bischoff on him. I've put Pascal Segon on him, Scalacci.
Yaya Sanogo.
That's Yaya Sanogo's. Yaya Sanogo was a border on FM. I remember when we signed him, I was like, if he's half as good
No.
as he is on FM, like this guy's gonna ball out.
No. Oh my gosh, he was so bad. Like,
We're all
okay,
allowed to get one wrong. We're all allowed to get one wrong. I'll tell you one
so
player, but I know it's not Arsenal, but it was one player that I actually he started off so well and then he got played out of position and then was like terrible. Maran Shamak. And we could laugh about it all day and night. He scored 8 goals in his first 10 games for Arsenal, and he was playing through the middle, looked kind of good. Van Persie came back fit. We played Van Persie through the middle, and then we decided to play a striker who is a box striker, great with his head, great like in the 6-yard box. We decided no pace. Like if it was Football
don't
Manager, it would
remind
have a
me.
grey dash on it, and we decided to play him wide right. It's probably one of the dumbest moves I've ever seen, and that ruined him.
Shamak. Oh my goodness. I
Shamak.
saw I watched this is just like a sidebar. I watched something on Crystal Palace the other day and I forgot that at some point like he was on Crystal Palace,
Yeah,
I
he was
think.
there, weren't he? Same
Yeah, I
Barnet and
was like, oh
everything.
my gosh, that man. But like, yeah, I mean, we done went way left. But oh, this actually leads us like perfect into Vieira. So this is slightly Arsenal, but not really. So watching Vieira manage Crystal Palace and do such a good job so far, listening to Crystal Palace fans talk about how grateful they are and happy they are to have Vieira as their manager is heartwarming and it feels so good. Like obviously as an Arsenal fan, you love Vieira, like you just
Mm,
do. But it's a little bit different when it comes to management because it's hard to make the transition and it's harder for black managers to make
mm,
or black players to make that transition because the opportunities are not quite the same. And
that's
if
right.
you think that they are, you are deluded. Like they're
Yep.
not, and there's a
Hmm.
reason why. There's way less black managers out there. Um, and Vieira has made a huge step to the Premier League to a big team. Crystal Palace is not the biggest, but they're not the smallest either. And to see him doing so well, and then the young players that he has around him, and I'm loving it. How impressed have you been with Vieira, and how important do you think it is for him to do well to kind of squash or start to minimize the narrative of black managers not being good enough and not
Mm.
being able to be at high levels and things like that?
Jessica Black. I am 34 years old, and in my lifetime, I have never seen Crystal Palace play attractive football. I've never
Right.
seen them play anything eye-catching. They have never excited me. They've never enticed me to watch them until this season. He's got them playing some nice stuff. I sit back and go,
That was nice.
yeah, can't rate that. Yeah. Ooh. I've never done that with Crystal Palace.
Either.
Never. And so the fact that I'm doing that now, I'm not shy to say I'm enjoying what I'm seeing. Is Patrick Vieira Arsenal quality? Why? It's a bit soon. Look, I actually think he did all right with Nice. I think he got given a bit of a tough end of the deal. And Montreal,
100%.
they're a terrible side. I'm sorry, they're crap. So like if he was to get a tune out of them, then we should be talking about him getting like a Manager of the Year award. You know what I mean? If he was to lead that Montreal side to like the playoffs and like go on and win the MLS that season, I'd be like no manager in the world. I wouldn't even see Klopp or Tuchel be able to do that with that side. So look, sometimes a manager works with the tools that they've got. Sometimes there's just that perfect fit. And excuse me, the fact that he had to go in there and just change a whole heap of stuff because what was it, 15 of the 25
We're out of
players,
contract.
it was some high ass number, all out of contract. So he signed a couple of them on again. Fair enough, I get that. Especially some of the more senior players. Benteke is only 30, by the way. Can you believe that?
What?
But yeah, I know.
That's it?
Like he's yeah. Like he's like I thought he was
I could
coming
have
up to
sworn he's
retirement age.
34, 35. Like,
Yeah,
if you would have
I
told
want
me he
to.
was 35, I'd have been like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, like I'm talking about retirement age, not from football, like from Walmart or something. But like he's a decent striker, and he's shown his form again. And they've done another thing where they've gone to the Championship, a league that myself and like me and Devo used to do a show on our channel on the Championship, but no one watched it because no one cares about non-elite football. But we were talking about championship players that could go and do a job in the Premier League, and there was an abundance of them. And do you know what they've done? They've decided to play like, right, okay, we'll pick that one up, we'll pick that one up, we'll pick that one up. And look at what they're doing. They're bossing it. They're having a great time. And defensively, they're looking a lot better. They're passing it out from the back, which is something that I don't like. But even Palace fans are like, oh, we're passing out from the back. Oh, the ball's in midfield now. Oh, we passed it out wide. Oh, we crossed it in. Bam, goal. Hold on a minute. This is Crystal Palace we're talking about. So kudos to him, man. Absolute kudos. The only thing I would say, he needs to start turning these draws into wins because he's drawn far too many games. And that's the only criticism I genuinely have. Just learn how to close games out. The Arsenal one, yeah, fair enough. But Arsenal were peppering. But the Brighton one, I think, will hurt them more because they were in full control of that game from minute 1 to minute 90, and for them to allow a goal to be equal to be conceded so late on, and it's the only time they didn't play it out from the back. It's the only time they went long. Balls at Guaita's hands. He kicked it out long. Bam, done. Like literally, like turnover possession, and then it's 1-1. So yeah, as soon as they learn how to close out games, we're going to see them creep up the table a hell of a lot because they are well, I think they're 4 points behind Man United at the moment. Man United
I mean,
are
they're
3
in
points behind us.
10th, and like that's not bad at this stage because they're gonna get better. Like that's the thing.
Yeah.
It's like I envision them getting better. Those draws will become wins. Those players will get older. They'll start to gel. These are
Mm.
even like similar to Arsenal in a way. I'm just like when you bring in like 6 new players or something like that, you have to give them time to gel.
But
And
they've
they're
only lost
not
2
quite
games.
they're
That's
not
it.
they're yeah, exactly. And I'm just like, this could end up being something really, really special. And then
Mm-hmm.
I can see this working out really well for them. So kudos to them. Unbeaten in the last 5. Definitely like Vieira is doing a really good job there. So hopefully he sticks around. You know,
What
we
do
don't
you
have
what
to
do
hear
you
about.
think? What do you think that Patrick Vieira is doing here right now? Like in terms of, enticing young black coming towards the end of their career footballers. Do you feel like he could be a beacon of talent?
Yeah, I mean, somebody has to be successful, like, and I think visibly successful to a point where like people can really see it. I think that there's been like there's not a lot of big examples of black managers doing well. And when
Mm,
sometimes when they do well, it goes so under the radar or they're moved aside for somebody else and it's weird, but I do think that if he can not just keep Crystal Palace in the Premier League, like if he can change that club around, stick around for a while and do it in a league as visible as the Premier League, of course, 100%. And
mm,
the more black managers push, like they're obviously going to get the lower level jobs and have to really work their way up. I don't think black managers will never have the opportunity to come into big clubs just because they played for them. That's not the path that they'll be able to take. They have to start from the
yeah.
bottom, but sticking around, failing, stick around, fail, and then succeed somewhere. I think the more that they do that and the more visible they are, it's I think it's just one, and then it has to have like a snowball effect. I do think there's still going to be
Mm,
some pushback. There's obviously always structures at play that keep black managers from getting those opportunities, but just let one in, let them do their thing. They're successful, and I think you can bet that there'll be more coming up the chain at some point.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I
yeah.
think. You
Mm.
know,
No, I believe that. I hear that completely. Yes, it's almost the annoying thing, isn't it? And it's like we have to wait for that one person to get a blind, and once they get in, then we might be able to creep on as well. Shouldn't be that way, but sometimes we have to accept it. And if that is the way it has to be this time, and someone can actually do a good job, then you know what, screw it. Then I'm all for it. If that is the way.
yeah, I just want to see more. Like, I want to see black managers get the same opportunities as other managers right off the bat. I
Yeah.
just feel like there's just like this where you have to start way down here and like it's just like so harsh. Like, it's I feel like it's deeper conversation for another day. But
Mm,
I think Patrick Vieira being successful at Crystal Palace can be the beginning of changing a narrative around black managers. I mean, you look at Nuno. I think he was
mm,
done dirty. Like I do. Like I don't think he was really given a chance. He was kind of given a job that he was going to naturally fail at. And when you
mm-hmm,
see people do that, even if you remove context, you see black managers get fired often.
mm-hmm,
Without context, you start to believe that it's because they're no good,
mm,
and Nuno's not a bad manager, but what people will take from that is that he wasn't, and he was sacked really early because he just couldn't do his job, when in reality, he
yeah,
was
yeah,
given the
yeah.
job that he was gonna fail no matter what.
Mm,
So having Patrick do something a little bit different, give him a job that he can succeed at, give him the tools that he can actually do something with. You don't have the, talisman of your team down tooling on you, then yeah, I think we can start changing that narrative a little bit. It's something that I,
mm-hmm.
I think is important for
No, I
sure.
agree.
But what I will say is Thierry Henry, although he's a black manager, he's not a good one.
No,
And
he is not. No, just stick to being like a legend. That is it. Yeah, we don't. Yeah, we don't. We want you in the club in a, as an ambassador.
I'm like, the first time I seen him coach, I was like, I don't know how this is gonna go, TT. I don't know how this is gonna go. Like this, I don't think this is your thing. But nevertheless, I'm happy for Patrick. But let's do a little bit of quick fire before we get out of here.
I'll read.
So a couple of managers not doing too well at the minute.
Mm-hmm.
If you had to guess, who do you think would get sacked first? Rafa Benitez or Brendan Rodgers? Both doing pretty horribly.
Oh, I would have to go Rafa. The fans didn't really want him there anyway. Ex Liverpool, bit of a journeyman anyway. They've got a decent squad of Everton, and it's not getting them to click. I would say him. With Rodgers, it's just a bit of bad form. They'll turn it around.
Nice, nice. So, let's see. If you could take any player from a team outside of the traditional Big Six to improve Arsenal, who would it be?
Oh, Ricardo Pepe from Dallas. Man, he
Really?
balls out. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, me and Devo have been watching a lot of the MLS stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like he's a young kid. He's a young kid, and I honestly think like he's one of those. He's an instinctive striker. If you get him the ball, he will try and he might not score, but he will get it on target. I'm down with that. So like, yeah, I'm looking at him. I love him, player.
Oh my gosh. Ricardo Pepi is very, very good. And
Mm,
he's not the player that I would choose, if I'm honest, if I could choose anybody, but he is a very, very good player.
mm.
Let's see. Let's see. So for you, who is the real GOAT? Is it Ronaldo or is it Messi? The real one, you know what I'm saying?
The amount of times I've changed my mind over the last 10 years is wild. I would I think I would stick with my gut and say Messi. And that is just because he's a natural talent. That doesn't mean that Ronaldo isn't the guy. Ronaldo has worked to become this player. Whereas Messi, for me, has literally he was born with it. That's GOAT levels to me.
It's such an interesting one because I just feel like people drill this into the ground. And personally, for me, when I get to this point where they're both, I know you can only have one, but this like constant need to like compare two players, it's weird to me, like because
Mm,
they're both, we're so lucky to have had them like in our lifetimes, like you know what I mean.
yeah, exactly.
So I don't really like to be like it's definitely, you know. We're very, very blessed to be able to see them play, you know. So I don't think one is like necessarily like way better than the other,
Have you
but
seen
that's
that
just
documentary on Ronaldo where where he's doing all this mad stuff, like where he's like he's got to kick the ball through the shards of glass, and then he's
I
doing
haven't seen
the
it.
agility. He's doing the agility runs where it's him and at the time the Spanish number 100-meter sprinter, and
I haven't
like,
seen it.
oh my god, I'm gonna try and find a link for it. I really hope it works in the States because I was always Messi number one until I saw that, and I was like, this guy isn't actually real, right? So yeah, it's quality. I'll find it and I'll send you a link. And if it doesn't work, I will sit there and watch it again myself and screen record it and send it to you on WeTransfer. I'll make it
Yeah,
happen.
I'd love to see it. Like I like to see players and like what they do like behind the
Mm.
scenes and stuff like that. That's super interesting. My last question is going to be if you could hire any manager to hire to manage Arsenal, who would it be and why? And let's keep it real. We're not getting Pep.
Yeah, a realistic choice. Still don't make it any easier, does it?
Because
I
you're not
mean,
an
like,
Arteta fan, are you? Like,
no, I'm not. Yeah, but I'm not. I'm not a fan either, if that makes sense. I said that I would like to have had Arteta come in straight after Wenger because there is no pressure. But the fact that we got someone else in and then the ship was sinking and then we got in a captain who had just been promoted straight out of school, like that didn't make any sense to me. Do you know what I mean? So like he's boat had sailed at that point. I like the Ten Hag links. I'm looking at that. Do you know what I would absolutely love? And I don't care in saying it. Bo Svensson from Mainz. He is a manager who is up and coming and ready to take on the world. If Bo Svensson will be prepped for a massive Bundesliga job after what he's done at Mainz. Mainz were bottom of the league last season, even lower than Schalke. And the second half of the season, the form guide was actually higher than Bayern at the end of the season. So, like, literally, that second half of the season, he was unreal. And he's got Mainz playing some nice football, and Mainz have got no money. And so therefore it can't be a case of, well, he's bought these players to make them better. No, he's coached them into what they're doing right now. I think Bo Svensson is going to be one of the best managers coming through.
Yeah, it's interesting because like as much as I'm like, I feel like Arteta needs this season to show kind of what he can do personally. Um, I know that it's a difficult situation, but like I feel like for me, I need him to get top 6 at the very least to stay. But
Yeah,
I view him as, although I think he's superior to Ollie in terms of his tactics and coaching, I view him as somewhat of that manager for us, the culture guy, the guy to give the reset to the club. But ultimately, I think at some point it'll be time to get another manager to take us to like the next level. And I feel
yeah.
like there will be somebody, and I'm always kind of looking around and asking people like who they think it should be. I'm seeing Jesse Marsh in the chat.
I like Jesse Marsh, but like I'm not overly impressed with the games that I'm watching for Leipzig this season. And they're the team
Yeah.
that have got talent, and I just don't feel like they're gelling at the moment. They haven't made that many changes in the summer. I know they
No,
lost Sabitzer. That's a massive loss.
they also
But
lost Kanate and Upamecano, but I do
Upamecano,
hear what you're
yeah, but
saying. I do hear what you're
yeah,
saying.
they've
Jesse
also
Marsh
got
is,
Klosterman there, and Mukiele. So like, it's not like they're
they're not out in the cold.
Upamecano like he down tools at the end of last season. As soon as there was an announcement that he was going to be going to Bayern in February, he was like, I'm done anyway. And he was just chilling in a hammock for the next 3 months. But then Kanate can't stay fit. So there might be two massive, massive players, but they weren't. I don't think it made that much of a difference, to Leipzig. I think it might be a step too high at the moment for Jesse Marsh.
Yeah. I mean, I would hope that we would go for somebody a little bit more up there, to be honest. That's what I would hope. Ten Hag is the person that I want. I'm putting it out in the
Yeah.
atmosphere. All I wanted was for Manchester United not to get him, so that when we're ready, we can go get him. He has to leave Ajax at some point. Like you gotta leave Ajax at some point
Yeah,
and
it's got to
bring
be there forever.
Overmars with you. Like,
Yes, I
so
think that's the main thing for me.
yeah,
Yeah,
that
so I
would
want
be
him to come along.
my choice. I watched Ajax play the other day and I just thought, that is silk.
Oh,
I
it's
want
beautiful,
that.
isn't it? It's not even real watching Ajax play football sometimes. I actually had a soft spot for Ajax. One of the first Champions League finals I saw as a kid was when they beat AC Milan in '95. And what I loved about that Ajax side more than anything else, and I know that there was that rule on how many foreign / non-EU players and stuff you could play in your side, but they didn't just have that. So there was two non-Dutch players in their starting lineup, but the other 9 were starting Dutch internationals. That's amazing. And that's what made me start falling in love with them. And I actually felt a little bit gutted when they lost the Champions League final against Juve the year later. I was like,
Yeah.
that hurt me a little bit. I was like, I'm not an Ajax fan. Why am I feeling? Why's my stomach feeling all funny? What's this liquid falling from my eyes? When Sonny Siloy missed his pen, I was like, what's this?
If you guys haven't noticed from the show, Gav and I are fans and we just love the game. Like I think you can tell from this conversation. We've went from everything, Ajax, Barcelona, Premier League, Bundesliga, everything. We even talked about a little bit about Ricardo Pepi. So we've talked about everything. And that's really what the show is going to be about, you guys, just giving a little bit of break from the Arsenal talk midweek to talk about just other things. And you guys have been active in the chat. Seem like you guys have been enjoying the conversation. So hopefully you will join me back here next Wednesday. But join me tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow at some point. I know it's Thanksgiving tomorrow, but I'm going to stream, I think, so I'll be back tomorrow and Friday and the next day. But Wednesdays here at this time will be anything but Arsenal if you guys want to come back. Gav, thank you so much for coming on the show, being a part of it. I really appreciate it. Where can everybody find you, just in case they want to follow you on socials and all of that?
Well, people should be looking at what's on the app. So yeah, Mad Sports Network on all social media. Literally put into Google, our name comes up first. Cover loads of different sports, including football. We've never done a Premier League show. We're actually going to just start doing one on Sunday. So we're going to just cover a few Premier League bits and bobs. And if you want to hear me rant about stuff, tell you what food I'm eating, and all that other stuff, follow me on Twitter at GavMac23. That's GAVMACK23. Oh, it's gone on the bottom screen. Boom. Yeah, so you find me there.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. And yeah, I will see you guys on the next one some point tomorrow, probably earlier rather than later because I will be eating tomorrow for Thanksgiving. So yeah, see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.